Good morning. Welcome to our E3 weekly uh, market report. It's Friday. We're delayed today because of the holiday on Monday. Exports have just come out. We're going to go over those. Then we'll talk about crop progress that came out on Tuesday, and then we'll discuss recent price action and maybe look at some seasonal information. Let's start. Let's go with the numbers that have just come out. We've got with cotton, 206,000. Hold on just a second. That doesn't look like they've updated that yet. Stay with me just for a moment. All right, let's look over here at the numbers as they're scrolling out, just the top numbers, because it looks like USDA's site is not. Here we go. Just came up, so we'll just go on to this particular sheet. Number for sales in cotton, 67,300 for 2015-2016. That's down 68% from the previous week and down 47% from the 4-week average. Indonesia took 13,000 running bales. Vietnam took 12,800 running bales, and South Korea took 10,600 running bales. Very light cancellations. Looking at the 2015-2016, now we're looking for the new crop right now. Not really seeing anything there. Looking at the reaction of the market, before this number came out, cotton was down 10. Right now, cotton is down 26. Going now to the soybean numbers, a large number there. We've been seeing these large numbers. 1,476,800 metric tons. That's up 15% from the previous week. China was the number one taker at 1,143,400 metric tons. Russia took 121,000 metric tons, and Japan took 81,600 metric tons. Looking at the reaction, the soybean market was unchanged just before the number came out. Right now, the soybean market is still unchanged, so it was anticipating this number. Let's go to corn. Corn, 598,400, and looking at that number, we've got a breakdown in corn. Let's see, Mexico took 183,900, Colombia took 117,000, and Japan took 97,900. Corn reaction, the corn was trading down 1 just before the number. It's still trading at down 1. We'll go to wheat now. Net sales of 460,400 metric tons. That's up 60% from the previous week and 80% from the 4-week average. Unknown destinations took 113,300. Yemen took 58,200. Japan took 57,200. Wheat, just before this number came out, was up 1.50 cents. Right now, the wheat market is up 1.50 cents. We're not really seeing much reaction in any of the grains. Cotton is the only market that's had a downward reaction. Let's look at the crop progress report that came out on Tuesday. The good to excellent category in cotton was 47%. The previous week was 48%. Looking at the good to excellent category in Texas, Texas was 38% good to excellent. Cotton bolls open across the country, 89% versus the average of 84%. Looking at U.S. harvest, the harvest was 22% complete versus this time of the year the average is 25%. But as we look at Texas, Texas is slightly ahead of schedule in harvest. Texas was 24% complete on harvest versus the average of 21%. And we had heard from Kelly Merritt in our last monthly teleconference that it seems like in every field you pass, in every cotton field that you pass, you see either cotton strippers or pickers running. So they really are trying to get the crop in as early as they can, in over concern about maybe early rains coming in to slow down harvest. Soybeans, good to excellent category, 64%, which was unchanged from the previous week. We've got harvest in soybeans at 62%. Now, the average for this time of the year in harvest is 54%. So ahead of schedule. Corn, good to excellent, is unchanged at 68%. Looking at harvest in corn, 42%. The average harvest this time of the year is 43%, so close to average. Winter wheat planting at 64%. The average is 66%. Let's look at what's happened here recently. Starting at in cotton, we have had from October the 9th through the 13th, we had cotton rally, 319 points. It did get up as high as 64.16. Right now that market's at 63.21. We're looking at November soybeans have had a 48 and a quarter cent rally from the 9th of October to the 14th of October, and so 48 and a quarter cents. So cotton and soybeans have rallied during that period. Corn and wheat have sold off. Corn has had a 20-cent sell-off from the high made on the 7th of October to the low that we measured on the 15th yesterday. It's had a 20-cent drop. Right now, that market is trading in December corn at $3.75. The wheat has had a 28 and a quarter cent drop over the last week from October the 7th to October the 12th. It fell that far. So just to give you a little perspective on what markets have done. Let's talk about the seasonals. This is that time of the year when we're normally seeing lows come in. Actually, we're past that date in the grains, but let's take a look. We'll start with cotton. The cotton seasonal tendency is to see the market move and make its low for the year sometime in the last half of November. The question is, with the crop moving very quickly in harvest now and Texas trying to get their crop out faster than usual, will we make a earlier than normal low? Have we already seen the low? The normal seasonal is for the last half of November to find a low, and then the market trends up into March. So be aware of that. We're going to discuss some ideas in just a minute that some farmers are doing and selling their crop and buying it back on the board through calls. We'll give you some ideas on that. Soybeans, March soybeans. The normal seasonal is for that market to bottom, actually for corn too, to bottom right at the 1st of October. It did it last year. That's the normal. This one seems to have happened earlier. After we find a low around the first part of October, we have a tendency to trade up into the very last part of December. Then the market sells off for a few weeks, maybe a month. Then we start to move up in soybeans into May. The market trends up into planting time. Those are the normal patterns. Same thing for corn. I mentioned about the same time of the year for a low when harvest is in full swing. The seasonal bottoms around the 1st of October, then it trends up into spring. There's an occasional pullback in November, and then in mid-January, the market normally tops in the March-April time period. Those are the seasonal patterns for certain crops. The lowest of the year, normally, in terms of price, is in the midst of harvest. You've got an abundant amount of it coming in. The seasonal high is usually around planting time in order to convince farmers to plant enough crop. The market gets up high enough to ensure that. That's the reason for those seasonals. Suggestions. Well, this time of the year when you're making lows, many times farmers will sell their crop to get their money to be able to pay back loans and then take a part of it, and they might buy calls to replace the crop on the board and then look for that seasonal rally. Doesn't always work, but it's just an idea. In looking at this, I took some prices yesterday on what were just out of the money calls for July calls in soybeans and corn and wheat, just to give you an idea. The cotton, 66-cent July calls are going for about 300 points. In July soybeans, the July 960 calls are going for about 38 cents. That's the cost to own a call. The July corn call, the 420 call, is going for about 20 cents. And so that's just something to think of for farmers out there, just a strategy for that. I'm going to put up on the Ag Market Network, Facebook and Twitter, I'll put up the cotton seasonals, the pattern and what it looks like. I'll put up the corn and the wheat today so you can look at it. But in the meantime, since this is sort of a special time of the year, if you've got any requests, if you would like for me to email you anything in terms of seasonals or seasonals for practically every commodity that exists, I'll be happy to do it. Or if you want some particular ideas, I'll be happy to respond to that. You can send any request to me. I'm going to give you my personal email account. It's patmcclatchy@gmail.com. That's patmcclatchy@gmail.com. Be happy to respond to any request you might have. That's it for today. We'll quickly look and see if there's been any change in these markets. The cotton market is down 22. The soybean market is unchanged. We've got the corn market down 0.5 and the wheat market up 1 3/4. So we really haven't seen a lot of reaction in the grains. That's it. We appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you later. Thank you.